Hi, thank you for tuning in to the Patricia Show, and I'm Patricia. Please press the subscriber button and the like button and share so you can share this information with someone that you know needs it or want to change their life. Okay, this is probably going to be a two-parter, and it's called Money Secrets, the 12 Principles. There was a man called Andrew Carnegie. He lived from 1835 to 1919. He was the richest man in the world, Scottish born, and he dealt in the steel industry. He said that he had a formula that gave him his fortune, and he wanted to pass this formula on to people who didn't have time to investigate how to get rich. So he hired a collaborator, a journalist called Napoleon Hill, whom he had grew to trust. Napoleon wrote this book called, after talking to many rich people, he wrote this book called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, he shared what he called the money-making secrets, 12 principles. I would like to share these principles with you. Now, if you just every person who became rich or got rich used these principles either consciously or unconsciously. You don't have to understand the principles that I'm going to describe, and it still will work in your life. But listen to this, either write the principles down and look at them daily, or listen to this tape at least once a week to keep you connected with these principles. Excuse me, so that they can start working in your life and align you so that you can become aligned with these principles. And again, it's either consciously or unconsciously, they will start working in your life. So the first principle is desire. What does desire mean? It's something you want. It means dreaming, hoping, planning, and desiring to be rich, because that's what you want. Visualizing yourself being rich with a home, a vacation home, traveling, a plane, your own boats, lots of money. Now, a lot of people get desiring to be rich and wishing you were rich. They really get it confused. And desiring to be rich and wishing to be rich is two different things. Many people think that if they wish to become rich, they will become rich, because they think that their wish and desire means the same thing. That is incorrect. Wishing you will be rich is like, okay, wait a minute. Let's move on to wishing, and then I'm going to show you the difference. Wishing is the second principle. It's something you are hoping to happen that is not easily attained. You want to sit there and wish that by a miracle or unbelievable good luck, you would be handed whatever amount of money you wanted, and you did nothing but sit there and wish that it would happen. All you do is sit on the couch all day and watch TV and think about how you want to be rich. That is wishing. That is not desiring. Now, wishing is not one of the 12 principles. I said that just a minute ago, but that was an error. But I wanted you to understand the difference between the wishing and the desiring. Because I've had people tell me that every day they desire to be rich. And when I ask them, what are you doing to move towards that goal? They're not doing anything but going to work at their regular job, coming home, watching TV, and wishing. And that's why they started doing that 5 or 10 years ago, and they still doing it now. Going to work, coming home, laying on the couch, and wishing. Nothing whatsoever has changed in their life. They're not desiring. When you're desiring it, you're doing something to get towards that goal of being rich. When you're wishing, you're just sitting there, one day I'm going to be rich while you watch TV. One day I'm going to be rich. You're just wishing, and nothing is going to happen with you wishing. You must take action. When you ask for money, and there's different techniques that you could do, and I'm giving you some of the exercises and techniques that you could do to bring about wealth in your life. But are you just like doing these techniques and then that you're taking action? When you do the techniques to get money, you're taking action. When you're sitting on the couch wishing that you're rich, you're not taking any actions at all. In order to become rich, you must take actions. When you're desiring something, you eventually are going to take actions to bring that desire into manifestation. So don't get wishing and desiring wealth confused, because a lot of people do. So the principle is you must desire the wealth. Okay? You must desire the wealth. You must take action to bring the wealth into manifestation. And so when you wish something, that's without putting any action into it whatsoever. And desire, when you desire to be wealth, it is putting action into what you want. So that's the difference between wishing and desiring. The next principle is faith. It's believing you can have your desire. Whatever the mind conceives and believes, it can achieve. There is no limitation in your mind except those that you place upon yourself. Wealth starts with a mindset, with the belief that you can accumulate wealth. Once you have that mindset, you're wealthy already. If I ask you how much wealth you wanted, you would have to think of an amount and tell me. So what does that mean? So that means that wealth begins what? In the form of what? Thoughts. And the limit that you place on your wealth, who does that? You. God will give you unlimited abundance. You're the one that places limitations on the amount that you would receive. I asked a cousin of mine, we're going to just say her name is Sally. I asked Sally, how much could she see herself getting? And she told me $250,000. That was, so she had placed a limit on it, right? That is as much as she thought she could accumulate in the form of wealth, was $200,000, which is $250,000. That's all she thought. So what does that say? That's saying what she's worth. She didn't feel that she was worth $1 million, but $250,000. I asked another lady also, what does she, how much, what's the most she could see herself getting right now? I was a little surprised and taken back because she told me $36,000 was the most she could see herself. And this was an older lady. She was like in her 60s, but that was the most that she could see herself getting. So to get to $1 million, honey, she had a long way to go. Because when you calculate how much money that you feel that you could get at this moment, that's also your wealth. I mean, that's also your self-worth. So at that moment I asked her, she felt her self-worth was only at $36,000. So who put a limit on what she could have? She did, by saying that she only could see herself getting 36,000. Now, in the same token, I asked another member of my family, and he really wasn't telling me the truth, because he told me that, oh, he could see himself getting 50 million. And I said, that you're just throwing out that number, because if that was true, you would have some money saved up now. You would at least have $250,000 or $500,000, or not $500,000, I'm sorry, 200,000 or 500,000 saved up right now, or something saved. He didn't even have $1,000 saved, but yet he could see himself being worth $50 million. No. Because if you really feel that you're worth 50 million, you would have the 50 million, or on your way there, or doing something that was so that would bring you wealth. You know what I mean? You would be in the process of start doing a business or something that was going to bring you that amount of money. So I know that when he said 50 million, he was just pulling that out the sky, just saying anything. You see what I'm saying? It's because if you feel that you're worth 50 million, and that's the most you could see yourself getting, you would be on your way. You would have produced some successful amount of money already. Okay? You have to look inside of you. The same power, this is for faith. You have to begin to have faith in yourself. As long as you hold your beliefs and faith in God's power, you can override any negative feeling. So remember the following. You have inside of you the same power that raised Lazarus in the Bible from the dead. You have no power of your own. You are using God's power. God's power is the only power. It creates this universe and everything in it. You have been given the authority to use God's power. Therefore, there is nothing you cannot do. Just being a child of God makes you worthy and deserving to have anything good that you want. So faith and desire is two of the principles. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Patricia Show. Push subscribe and share and like. This is the end of part 1, the 12 principles of success.